Hi, I'm Allie McDonald. I'm an assistant editor at O'Reilly Media. Today I'm talking with Wesley Hales, who's a software developer at Shape Security. Thank you for talking with me, Wesley. Who's also an author of HTML5 and JavaScript web apps with O'Reilly. So thank you for being here.
That's right. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So at Fluent, you're talking about building real-time web apps. So what exactly is a real-time web app, and why would someone want to build one?
Yeah, so it's real-time is kind of the hotness right now, and it's kind of been that way for the past couple of years, I guess. And I have a personal interest in real-time web applications because I wrote a side project called OnSlide, and it allows the audience to vote when I'm up talking. So when I'm giving a talk, they can pull out their phone and just open a web browser and start voting whether they like what I'm saying or not. So that immediately establishes like a WebSocket connection, and it uses the Speedy protocol as well to download things or to make things faster. And it's kind of my personal experiment to move to HTTP 2.0 before it actually gets here. So I'm just trying to understand the space. But back to your question, the reason people want to go to real time is because there's a lot of new protocols and a lot of new just abilities of the web that we're kind of pushing forward, because HTTP 1.1, which is what like Facebook and Foursquare and all these other social applications have been built on, this old protocol that's almost like 15 years old. So with WebSockets and Speedy and all this real-time stuff coming, it's going to actually create a new protocol, or it's going to build kind of the base or the starting point for HTTP 2.0, which is the newer kind of web protocol. So we're going there, that we're headed there now. So that's kind of the reason people are getting into it, I guess.
So how would someone go about, they have data that they want to, be using for a real-time web app. Well, what are some tools that you would start to use, or what are the newer tools that allow people to do this?
So the barrier to entry is getting much lower. Most like big server, it does involve the server. It's not like all front-end stuff, but it plays on both sides. So like if you use Nginx or HA Proxy or Apache as a web server, which most people do, there are modules and plugins that you can use to make your site capable of serving up a real-time web app. And then like I'm talking about two things. That's Speedy. The WebSocket protocol requires a little bit more server-side programming. And so, but with that, you can enable your front-end apps to be much faster, because we all know cell networks are not very fast, like cell phone networks. Which is kind of what it helps, I guess.
So there are any obstacles that are that come up when making real-time web apps with security, or is there anything that goes difficulties in creating these kind of applications?
There are, just because I was talking earlier about my side project. I actually had a security hole in it at a conference where we used it last year at Google in New York. They were using it during all the panel sessions for this conference called EdgeConf, and a guy in the audience found a hole and started voting. He was sending in like 500 votes very quickly, so you would see the bar kind of spike up. It's hard for me to explain without you seeing it, but anyway, yes, there are security issues, and they're fixable. It's just there are a lot of new security issues. But luckily, to get a Speedy application, to get Speedy support right now, you have to be using SSL, which is Secure Socket Layer, and that makes your connection encrypted. So really, over-the-wire encryption is kind of like required to run some of the newer protocols.
So what do you think are some of the more common projects or uses of real-time apps are you seeing? Are there does there tend to be a certain type of instance or situation where people are really using this where they couldn't have before?
Yeah, so I've been talking about protocols, which is just for sending data, but there's also another one called WebRTC that allows for peer-to-peer communication. So in an ideal world, I could pull out my phone, you could pull out yours, and we can have a video conversation peer to peer instead of going through like a centralized cell provider like AT&T or whatever. So we would be providing our own data channel, if you will. And right now, batteries and antennas and video encoding and all these things are kind of blocking that because the technology hasn't progressed far enough. But there are still ways to do it. It's just, so to answer your question, like video chat and bypassing cell networks and like creating your own real-time network without having a centralized point is really like a cool possibility that's coming.
And WebRTC in particular seems to be gaining a lot of momentum, and there seems to be, you know, a lot in the future there. Do you think that it's going to be something that a lot, you know, obviously Google and other companies are they seeing real time as the future, or?
Yeah, I think everybody has to kind of see it as the future. It just enables more better things. I mean, I don't know how to say that right, but yeah, I mean, it's just real time is like it's like the tool I was talking about. You know, 200 people are in a room and they're all sending me their thoughts and opinions at the instant I'm presenting, and it's low latency, and I'm able to record that data and see how well I did in my talk, and those and that application I would not have created without the real-time web. So there's like so many other possibilities, but that's just one. So.
Great. Well, thanks. This has been really helpful. So thank you for joining me.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.